So another monitor just dropped by for review today, and we are going to see if it's a good monitor or not. The monitor is an Asus TUF VG249Q. I know, quite a mouthful. Now the main reason why you want to get this monitor is because it's a low cost monitor which has 144Hz along with an IPS panel and with a low response time of only 1 millisecond. The monitor actually retails for around 750 ringgit Malaysia or around 250 US dollars, which is not expensive when you consider the specs. It is actually part of the Asus TUF lineup, so it's actually in the middle of the pack in terms of tiers, and it's not like a bulk basic monitor. You can see extensive TUF branding around the monitor along with red highlights to indicate the gamer's aesthetics. However, overall, I like the look of the monitor. Along with its slim bezels and professional looking aesthetics, I think it can fit any setup. Onto the features of the monitor. On the back, there's a Kingston lock, which is very important if you live in somewhere like a dorm where there's a high chance of the monitor getting stolen. In terms of input, there's also a display port, HDMI, along with an old VGA port. I don't know why they decided to go with VGA instead of the DVI. On the other side, there's also the power cable, which luckily does not require an external power brick. That should make cable management much more easier. So another feature that I like about this monitor is that unlike basic monitors, the stand is actually very usable in that it has very good adjustability. It can be height adjusted from 0 to 150 millimeters, and then it can be swivel left and right up to 62 degrees. You can also tilt the monitor upwards of 20 degrees and then downwards up to 5 degrees, and the best part is that you can actually pivot the monitor to up to 90 degrees so that you can have make the monitor display to be a vertical display instead of a horizontal, which is a very important feature if you are looking into a good secondary monitor. So on to the performance of the monitor. Spec wise, it has a very typical gaming monitor feature set such as 144Hz, 1 millisecond response time, and another added feature that this monitor is also G-Sync compatible. As you can see, there's a G-Sync on icon on the monitor. Other features that makes the monitor very favorable for gaming use is that it also has the Asus ELMB feature, which is the extreme low motion blur feature, which is basically Asus term for backlight strobing monitor. It reduces the blurriness during rapid movement. Other features of the monitor which I also like and helps in gaming is the backlight boost, which helps especially in Warzone. In some corners it can get very dark and the black boost helps to show enemies. Also, you can also put a custom crosshair on the monitor. I'll show later in the OSD part of the video. It can also be quite useful, especially if you're no scope sniping. But overall, I think the monitor also the monitor has IPS panel, which helps. I mean, the games looks better at least. Now, where I consider the IPS panel really helps is actually in photo editing and video editing. The IPS panel is actually very good. It has 97% sRGB coverage, 70% Adobe RGB coverage. So actually for casual video editors like me, it's actually very adequate. I don't really feel that the colors become inaccurate. The brightness is also okay at 200 nits, so it's not bad. It's not great. It's not HDR level, but it's not bad. Also, like any other IPS panel, it also has the advantage of very good viewing angles and I guess very good brightness. But the contrast is not as good as the VA panel, but it is miles better than other TN panels. Now on to the part where in monitor reviews I always skip, which is the OSD features. This is the game visual part. There are a few options. I think if I'm not mistaken, I just stay in the sRGB mode if I'm not mistaken. What else? Okay, this is the blue light filter. I sometimes use this if I'm doing for a very long time, if I'm doing articles or things like that or work. Here you can adjust the brightness, contrast, color saturation, blah blah blah. Okay, this is the part where it's a bit more important. So the first section is the trace fee. The trace fee is actually the overdrive. In this monitor, you can just set it to 100 because there's not much overshoot. The second one is the adaptive sync and FreeSync, which you have to switch on if you want to use G-Sync. Below that is the ELMB, or the extreme low motion blur, which I already explained before. Another thing that I explained before is the shadow boost feature, which you can also use to brighten up dark areas during gaming. So the next section is the sound. There's the volume, mute, and then source, not much, and then there's the input, and then there's like a system setup, and then there's the shortcut. So that's it. So another part that I like about this monitor is the game mode section. In this, you can actually have one setting that I really like, which is the crosshair. So what happens is that if you choose the crosshair mode, there are multiple crosshair options. So you will have a dedicated crosshair in the middle of the screen. This is very useful if you're like macam sniping, and then no scoping. This is actually quite useful. Display alignment is very useful if you're using two monitors. So this is the crosshair mode. So as you can see, there's a crosshair at the middle of the screen, which is permanent even in game. So this is actually quite useful, especially for no scope sniping. So what do I think about the monitor? So I think for around 200 US dollars or 700 ringgit Malaysia, I think the monitor, considering its specs, is quite a good value. I know there are some cheaper monitor with similar specs. One I can think of is, I think, the Acer Nitro, which is also 24-inch, 1080p, 144Hz, 1 millisecond response time. But if I'm not mistaken, the Acer Nitro requires you to use the VRB, or virtual response boost, to get a good response time, which in turn causes you unable to use any type of adaptive sync, which I think is the major flaw of that monitor. Also, compared to the Asus is better compared to the Acer, in which the Asus has a fully adjustable stand, which I think people have to consider as a pretty good value, because if you want to buy an adjustable stand, that itself is going to set you back around $50 or around 100 to 150 ringgit Malaysia. So I think overall, I don't think that the Asus is the best package, but I think in terms of value and what it offers you, I think it's a very fair price to performance, so to speak. Anyway guys, if you like this video and would like to support my channel, do consider to subscribe and leave a like on this video. It really helps me. Any like and sub, it really helps the channel a lot. And share it if you find it useful. Anyway guys, see you guys next time.